thanks for joining me. I promised in my write-up today that I would do the astrology forecast for the week. So big news today, and in fact just within the last hour we finally had Pluto go direct. So wherever you've been working on Pluto in your chart, you might start to notice some differences there. So for me in particular, Virgo rising, Pluto's been moving through my fifth house of romance, creativity, children. So impacts for me have been all around what's going on in those areas. Not being as highly motivated to be as creative, is one way that could have impacted you. And then as the forward direction of the planet happens, then voila, you're now experiencing your creative drive returning. Same thing could be hiccups in your romances, and now with the forward movement of Pluto, you can potentially experience forward movement in that area as well. So again, depending on your house, the impacts will be different for you, but that's just an example. And the good news is now with the forward movement, we can move on and focus on the rest of the activities for the week. So starting with Monday, remember as you first wake up to say rabbit, rabbit, and bring yourself some good luck for the day, and hopefully for the entire month. So on Monday we have the moon in an opposition to Saturn. So the moon moves throughout the day fairly quickly, but you'll notice during the day that our emotions are being sternly looked at by Saturn, who is saying, hey, get those under control. You can still be disciplined and be emotional. So it's making sure that the things that you're feeling passionate about today are things that are really important to you, and you don't just get to run around willy-nilly today. And the nice thing is, as we look at this, we're at 1 degree and 11 minutes. So 111 is new beginnings, new fresh starts. So you'll have an emotional charge today on something that does get you headed in a new direction. With that, we also have a nice sextile between Uranus and the moon. So Uranus brings that surprise energy into something that we're feeling emotionally charged about. Those would be the things that I would look at and focus on Monday. And as we move into Tuesday, we start to see again the moon creating a square to the sun, and at the same time creating a trine to Venus. As I mentioned, we've got a lot of aspects going on, but here in particular, when our ego comes up against our emotions, we're really being charged with looking very closely at what it is that is impacting our egos today and how we can react differently than we have in the past. So you're looking not for necessarily a huge shift, but there's definitely something noticeable that happens in your egoic reactions. And then we've got Venus sitting at 10 degrees and pretty much stationing. She'll move about 5 more minutes before she officially heads retrograde. So with the supportive energy of the moon here in a trine, this is where you've got that feel good energy. So the things that you love and value, things that are beautiful and bring you joy, will be brought to your attention today. So it's a really good feeling day, which is nice as you're getting ready for this Venus retrograde energy in particular. We also at this time have now. We've moved on from Saturn, but Pluto's saying, again, how are you using your emotions to move you forward versus hold you back in the past? So those things that are emotional triggers for you today are getting a lot of attention, but in a positive way, in a way that's meant to help you grow and move forward, because you have the support of Neptune also in a trine, that dreamy energy, that higher perspective energy, your spirituality are all things supporting your emotions. So it's a quick transit on Tuesday, but there's definitely a lot of interactions with your emotional security, and you'll have lots of opportunities to take a look at the different ways that you react to things and make a decision on what you want to carry with you go forward. So let's look at Wednesday the 3rd. And on Wednesday the 3rd, we're starting to see a few more activities happen, but this energy that I wanted to focus on in particular, we'll see the moon in a trine aspect to Jupiter. So somewhat similar to that Neptune energy. They both have that kind of higher realm energy associated with both Jupiter and Neptune. But Jupiter brings expansion and good luck, and in particular finances. So there could be some opportunity for something that you've been working really hard for, to see that rewarded today. So it's a very lucky day when you have the moon trining Jupiter. So take advantage of it, enjoy it, and feel into it, because we're really getting ready for Venus Retrograde on Friday. Let's look ahead to the 4th. And on the 4th, we start to see the moon in opposition to Mars. And so we've got Uranus standing across the sky loosely, but opposing Venus and Mercury. Usually give about a 10-degree range when we're talking about any kind of planetary impacts, and especially since Uranus moves so slowly, it can be a little broader with what you look at as far as impacts go. But as the moon again will be moving quickly across the sky, but you've got the moon in a fire sign, so you're feeling more passionate, definitely more vocal. When the moon's in Leo, your emotions are on stage, and here comes Mars standing across from you going, and not really buying into it. So Mars isn't one for emotionalism. However, he is a fire sign, so you might just get that extra oomph you need from Mars to deal with something that's been bothering you this week. So he's there. He's giving you the energy and the support. And you may be more comfortable than you normally are talking about your emotions because you have the support of the fire sign Leo. Also, we have a T-square shaping up between Venus, Mars, and the moon. So my guess would be that you're having a heated conversation in your relationships, and something needs to be resolved. With Venus sitting there at that, she's, that teeter-totter point, she's the reminder that charging ahead like Mars does isn't always the best answer. Being overly emotional isn't the best answer. The right answer, the right solution is to focus on love. And so that's your message for Thursday the 4th. And then let's look ahead to Friday the 5th. So I like to look at the overall chart energy when a planet goes retrograde to look at the theme. So what's going on with all of the planets? What are they doing in support of Venus, who's about to go on this mission of rework back through the first 10 degrees of Scorpio and back through the last 5 degrees of Libra. And so when we look at this, earlier I mentioned you've got Uranus standing across the sky from Venus, also standing across the sky from Mercury. So how we think about our relationships might be a bit of a surprise for us during this retrograde. And if you follow my blog, you have heard me say that this Venus retrograde will really have impacts all the way into about the 19th of December. So this isn't something that you're going to resolve quickly. There's some work to be done, and in particular we call rework when we're going retrograde, as Venus will be doing. So we have that energy there. We still have a nice trine that continues between Uranus and Saturn. Saturn started to move forward, so that's separating energy, and the moon later on this day will come directly into Virgo, so we'll have a grand Earth trine happening while Venus stations and turns retrograde. And the way I interpret that is when you have a grand trine in Earth energy, so it's Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo, it's what's going to ground you through this Venus retrograde season. So while you may be pushed to reevaluate again the way you've been interacting in your relationships, how you deal with money, what are the things that you love and value outside of your relationships, you've got this nice grounding energy that if you channel it, it will help you stay grounded throughout this transit. So take advantage of energy as it presents itself to you. When there's a grand trine like this, the trines are there for you, but you have to take action. So just because energy's there, it doesn't mean anything's going to happen to you. It's never about things happening to you. It's about how do you assimilate and use the energy in your day-to-day activities. Do you use it in the light, or is there a little bit of a shadow work going on? It's up to you, but today you have an opportunity to ground yourself in these earth energies as you begin this work. So let's talk a little bit more about the Venus retrograde. So I mentioned the rework, and I've mentioned again in some of my blogs if you've been reading those, and if not, feel free to like and subscribe to these videos and follow me so that you can see these messages regularly, or go to my website marileebrunette.com, where I have multiple blogs on lots of different topics, full moons, new moons, and some of these transits. So Venus, when she's going retrograde, unless you have Venus retrograde in your chart, will give you an opportunity to re-look at things, re-evaluate them, re-sign contracts, reintroduce a concept at work, take a second look at a relationship. It's pretty common to have people from your past show back up in your life. And then depending on where Venus is impacting you in your chart is really going to be the influence overall. So we know it's Scorpio. Scorpio is about transformation, regeneration. There's a lot of Pluto energy as it's the ruler. So you're going to be looking at things as far as self-empowerment in your relationships. And that's just some general influence from Scorpio. But then depending on whatever house it's sitting in, you'll have the additional influence of the house based on your sign. And so it takes really a longer reading and discussion to go through that. And so as we go through the weeklies, I'll try to point out different house combinations and some of these energies, so you can take a look at it and see if, oh yeah, that is definitely what's going on with me in my life, and the influence of Venus at this time. So that things that you want to avoid. So let's think about that. So if I'm rethinking how I spend my money, this may not be the best time for you to make purchases that aren't necessary. So it may not be the best time to go out and buy that new car unless you have the money, and it wouldn't matter if you spent it or not. But if it's something that causes some kind of a financial strain, you'd be best to wait until the end of the year to pick something up. It's a great time to do things like thrift shop because you're re-looking, you're reevaluating, you're making better choices with your money. So you're going after things that are a really good deal. Then those are things that are good and safe to make purchases. But a lot of times, if you make big purchases during this transit, you'll end up having buyer's remorse. And I just don't recommend it. Again, if you have Venus retrograde in your chart and you notice that while the planet is retrograde, you don't experience these same types of impacts, then by all means go for it. And of course, these are also just general. How energy affects you is very personal, but this gives you a snapshot to understand. And then in addition, Venus rules beauty. So if more than anything, when Venus goes retrograde, it's like all those things that you shouldn't be interested in become the things that you're most interested in ever. So if you have long hair, suddenly you really want to have a short haircut. And vice versa, your hair's short and you want it long, and you're going to add extensions, and you're going to try a new beauty product and new beauty regimen, and all these things are going to just become so important to you because you're reevaluating them. But reevaluating something does not mean to take action. So use this time to do the research. You want to get breast implants, you want to get plastic surgery, don't schedule anything that's elective, but do your research to make sure it's what you want to do, and then wait until the end of the year and then proceed forward with it. And by the December 19th date, Venus has passed through her shadow period and she is fully moving forward. And so any major purchases, any elective surgeries, taking the next step in a new relationship, you would do best to wait until the end of the year to do any of those things. All right. If you have questions, feel free to post them on my YouTube channel. I will respond to your questions and comments as time allows, but they'll just give you, an introduction to what you can expect from the Venus retrograde. So let's finish out and take a look here at our Saturday energy. So we have not any really big changes. The moon will stand across the sky from Neptune. So this is your first opportunity to look at how you're feeling and make sure you don't have rose-colored glasses on. Neptune tends to make us really dreamy, and if our emotions are feeling really dreamy and we're not seeing things clearly, this is a good reason why you don't take action during a Venus retrograde when you meet somebody new, because by the time it's done, they may not appear to be who they were when you first met them and had your rose-colored glasses on. And then let's finish this out with Sunday the 7th. And so as we finish out the week, Moon is still sitting in Virgo. We've got some really nice movement forward with Jupiter, who's now entering into the last sectors of Scorpio, and soon will be moving to its home sign of Sagittarius. So this is where we start seeing in your personal charts the impacts of this entire Jupiter transit. So watch for the blessings to start appearing in your life. We still have a loose sextile here between Pluto and the moon. So you'll see some influences there again about empowerment and the reward that you receive when you take your power back. All right, so let us move into actually looking at a card for each one of the signs. All right, guys, so now let us take a look, and I will draw a card for each one of the signs. So I'll shuffle my cards. And ask for the messages for each of the signs for this Venus transit. So remember, this message is good basically through the end of the year. So we'll have till about December the 19th to look at the energy offered to you from the cards and then decide how you're going to work with it during this Venus retrograde. Okay. So I'll shuffle these up good, and then I will just mix them up briefly as we move through each of the signs. So starting with Aries and Aries rising, and some people like to listen for their moon sign as well. You know, if you're a water sign, or if you have a lot of Cancer energy, which is ruled by the moon, or if you have really prominent moon energy in your chart, then that might make sense for you too. So completely up to you how you want to look at that. So let's start with, I just really enjoy these cards. So this is, get that so you can see it, the love card. And so the lover's card, or the love card, I don't think you could ask for anything better to get, Aries. But so this card is, I'm challenged. So this card is a great card. This talks about having a soulmate relationship, and whether that's improving the one that you're already in or finding a new one, you have a wonderful opportunity. So my only caution to that, as I mentioned in the review for the weekly, is that you don't want to be having commitments, weddings, those types of things, but you have the go ahead to be having a great time. Make sure you can see that really well. Getting to know this new person in your life. So excellent news for Aries and Aries rising. So let's shuffle these up as we move forward and take a look at Taurus. All right. Beautiful card too. See which gets me the best light. So the Temptation card is working through things with ego. Traditionally, this card, trying to get the lighting off of that, is really about, is the devil in the typical traditional, I should say, tarot deck. But in this card, she has called it transformation, which is what we've been talking a lot about with having Pluto going direct. This is a lot of the energy of Scorpio. So this Taurus says you've got great opportunity to finally accomplish something with love, with money, with the things that you value throughout this transit. So it looks like you've got some really great support to do some work that you've been trying to do for quite some time now. So look forward to seeing the comments on how that works out for you. All right, let's look at Gemini. So dear Gemini, what are you going to be working with during this Venus transit? Card. Okay, so here we have, you can see that, the Five of Air. And so traditionally the Five of Air is the Five of Swords card. And what I love about the representation of this card is you're really above it all. So the Five of Swords traditionally is talking about your need to win at all costs. But this says whatever your battle is, it's something that you choose to win in a way that works for everybody. So this is not about you just picking fights just because you can and because you want to win. This is really about you today and for the next 4 or 5 months, choosing to fight the battles that matter and that will make a difference for you. So Venus energy for you and being swords, is really working through what are those battles that you've been having? What are you continuing to rework on as far as love and communication? Because remember, air energy is a lot about our communication style. So is there opportunity there for you? And you'll get to experience that throughout this transit and be able to take a second look at the way you communicate in love in particular. All right. From Gemini, we're going to move over to Cancer, Cancer rising, and see what you can expect from this Venus transit. And since these, voila, we have 2 cards. So, and we have the Page of Fire and the 6 of Fire. So no wonder they're so hot, they just jumped right out of my hands, and they're still jumping right out of my hands. So let me try to do it this way so you can kind of see both of them. They're such pretty cards. So Page of Fire and 6 of Fire. So the Fire is traditionally the Wands card. So the 6 of Wands, I love it again. This is a feeling of victory, sailing across the finish line, receiving rewards and recognition. So you have an opportunity to really find success in love and money, and your serious relationships, the things that you value. So that this is saying that you will be rewarded at the end of this Venus transit. And in particular, a page is new, fresh energy. And so to me, this says this is a new relationship. It's just getting off the ground. The energy itself is new and fresh, but it's also a fire sign, so it's definitely passionate energy. So for you Cancers, look for an opportunity for either a new relationship or a new start. And while I said it's not advisable to run off and get married or move in with somebody, it wouldn't surprise me if somebody from your past was coming back, for you to have an opportunity to rework something in that relationship. All right. Let us move forward to Leo. And these are really big cards. All right, Leo. What can you look forward to during this Venus transit? Oh, nice. So with my Leos out there, you get a fresh start in love, relationships in general, money. The Fool is about completely fresh start. So you get to start over for some. You get a do-over for others. And then for the rest of you, it could just be a brand new relationship opportunity, brand new job opportunity. And it really is something that's brand new to you. The Fool starts off just with a knapsack on his back and feeling like he can do anything. And so that's really your opportunity today, is how do I get a fresh start? I'm going to use this Venus retrograde energy to just hit the road, start something new and fresh, and by the end of this transit, really know what it is that I want. Okay, let us take a look at Virgo. So Virgo and Virgo rising, what can you expect during this Venus transit? All right. And for you Virgos, we have the Seven of Fire. So I'm getting a lot of fire energy here in these cards. So Seven of Wands. And the Seven of Wands is really taking a stand on something. So you could be standing up for yourself, standing up for others, but there's something really of importance to you during this transit and something that you want to make sure somebody's being treated fairly. Make sure yourself is being treated fairly. But that's your energy of this transit, is to take a stand. So whether it's just taking a stand for yourself and how you're being treated in a relationship, how you're being treated by your associates at work, by your boss, by your peers, the energy of this card says, I will be treated fairly, and I am not afraid to stand up for myself. And in fact, I will run through a burning volcano. You look at this energy of this horse or unicorn, it's magical, and they don't even need a rider, and they're taking off into the fiery skies with no fear. So you will have no fear during this transit, and you will be completely comfortable taking on any of the challenges that are Venus related that come up during this transit. All right, let's take a look at Libra. All right, now Libras and Libra rising. What? So for Libra and Libra rising, we have the King of Fire card. And so this to me says you have an opportunity to actually meet this person who will be coming into your life and be an influence. King of Fire is King of Wands. He's very passionate. It's definitely male energy. So guys, this can also represent you. So you may be back to feeling like yourself again, finding your inspiration. And then for you women, this just may be this man coming into your life. But I'm just going to remind you, while everything seems great and rosy when he first shows up, you need to spend the time making sure what you expect and what is said is followed through by actual solid evidence and behaviors that match the words. No jumping off like the fool because you don't have that energy and pretending that this is something that it's not. All right, let's jump forward and take a look at our Scorpios. Oh, Scorpio, you'll be doing the work. You have Venus in your sign, so she is definitely having you reevaluate how you look at love and money, in particular. What are the things that you value? Will you value them the same way at the end of this transit as you do at the beginning? Chances are not. So let's see what card energy you'll be working with during that process. So you have the Messenger of Earth. So the good news is you have some great grounding energy working with you, and this is the typical Knight of Pentacles card. And what I associate with the Knight of Pentacles card is hard work. So you will be working hard during this transit. Sorry. she's in your sign. So the energy is going retrograde in your sign. It's going to be hard work anyway, but the card itself is saying you'll have the support you need to do the work that's necessary, but work is required. You're not getting off easy with this one. Work is definitely required when it comes to love and the things you value, your relationships. You have to put in the effort. You're not going to be able to skate by this time. Nobody else is solving it for you. Nobody else is going to fix it. Nobody else is giving you money. You have to do to work to earn what it is that you need during this transit. And then maybe as she moves over into Libra, you'll catch a little bit of a break for the very end of the transit. But in particular, you are definitely going to be doing some work. But the good news is you have the support you need. And I would definitely, for you in particular, tune into that grand trine energy as this kicks off and just ask for the support during this transit. And then you can tap into it during that entire time. All right, let us move forward to our Sag and Sag rising. What fun adventures might you get to experience with Venus during this transit? Okay, grab it. All right, Sag and Sag rising. That card wants to come out. Choices, choices. So here we have the Seven of Water. That one's going to be harder to see with the blue. Isn't she pretty though? So the Seven of Water is traditionally the Seven of Cups, and each of the little fish here in the picture are giving you a different choice. The important thing about this card and this transit is these choices will be presented to you throughout the transit. So it's not something that you need to choose or decide right at the very beginning of the transit. In fact, you will do better to wait and just expect that, it's a Seven of Cups. There's, 7 different options, and each one has a different outcome, but you need to give it time to understand the long term effects or impact of your choice. So use the transit to take a look at the opportunities that present themselves to you and wait until the end of the transit to make a decision. Now, of course, if there's something in your chart that supports you making a choice earlier, go for it. But as a word of caution, just be patient. And if you're not required to make a choice, don't force your hand or the other person's and get into something that you don't need to before the end of the transit in December. All right, Capricorns, what do we got? More fire energy. So here we have the Four of Fire, which is the Four of Wands. And the Four of Wands, traditionally a lot of times this card comes up for celebrations, family celebrations, a lot of times when you're looking for marriages, weddings, engagements, birth announcements. This is the card that will come up traditionally. So it's really happy times for you. So you've got a transit with really loving, supportive energy. Remember, the fours are our foundation cards. We're building from the four. And this wands means it's something you're really passionate about. It's something you want to pursue, but the same caveat as everybody else is you may really want to get married to somebody right now. Pick a date, but don't do it until after the transit is over. But you again have great opportunity to meet somebody during this transit that could end up being somebody that you want to get married to. All right, and you say, well, I don't ever want to get married. What does that have to do with me? What is it that you would want to be committed to, then you can use the energy that way. What is something that you want to be celebrating? I just use this as a general example. Okay, this card popped out at me. So for you Aquariuses, you are going to see the Hangman. So you have an opportunity during the transit for a new perspective. So again, if you're in an existing relationship, then this may give you an opportunity to see the other person's side in the relationship instead of just assuming that it's your way or the highway. Not that I know any Aquariuses. And and the nice thing is it's similar to the Fool card. You could have a fresh start because of your new perspective, but it really does take the time. So it's a perfect card for going within, reviewing your relationships, reviewing the things that you value, and deciding how you want them to be in your life going forward. And then by the end of this transit, you should be able to make a decision, if not before then. But it really is time to look and think about things differently than you have been up to this point. Okay, and our last one we have is for Pisces. So, dear Pisces, how will you round us out, Pisces and Pisces rising, for this Venus retrograde? This one's sticking out. Yeah, I knew it. In my mind, it's like, wow, I can't believe I haven't drawn the same card twice yet. And so, Pisces, you as well get the seven of water, which is 7 of cups. So you are also working through making choices, making decisions. In particular, Pisces, if you are making any kind of purchases that are triggering your little heartstrings and emotions, take as long as you can before you commit to making the final purchase. Make sure it's something that suits you. And look at all of your options and opportunities. So, the 7 of Cups means there's, I don't know if I want to call it ramifications, but there's definite impacts no matter what cup you choose. Each one just comes with a little different consequence. So make sure it's the consequence you want. For every action, there is a reaction. Make sure in love you're getting the reaction you want, whether it's something you love, like a really pretty piece of jewelry, a new house, new car, or new person. If you're dating 7 people, you need to call me because I want to know how in the heck you meet 7 people that you want to date. But overall, again, just think through the choices before you make them. So, all right, I hope you all enjoyed that. And the new look of the weekly astrology. So please subscribe, like, comment, give me feedback as I continue my journey of my creativity. Thank you, Pluto, because I'm struggling a lot today on how to do that and how to make these recordings more impactful for you, which is why I do this. So sending you much love and light. Hope you enjoy this Venus transit, and we will talk again tomorrow in our daily reading. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you click on the little bell, you can get notifications whenever I post a new video. And if you want to book a reading, you can go to my Facebook page of Guiding Light. You can go to my website directly for marileyburnett.com. And I have all kinds of different readings that I have out there for you. So thank you so much, and we'll talk soon.